Coming up in July at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival are two documentaries called Stupa and Deep Ecology. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the director of those films, Peter Charles Downey, and to Boinga Bob. Welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thank you. Boinga. Boinga.
Boiga. Okay. Tell me first, let's start with stupa. Tell me, how did that film first come about that Tibetan stupa?
The film originally began because I've known Boinga Bob something like 23 years now. And in fact, Boinga was one of the first people I ever interviewed when I first got into filmmaking, like 12 years ago or something, maybe 14 years ago. And and over the years, we'll be collecting footage here and there and photographs and things like that. And then I don't know, one day we just decided to make a film about him. Like he's been on so many interviews and tell it was the world's most extreme homes, Bob, and
Yeah, it's Australia's most amazing homes, and
Burke's backyard, things like that.
and Melbourne University made a documentary before Christmas, and there's a lot.
A
No,
lot of magazines. So it's like, oh, about time there was like a feature film about Bob, and then that's pretty much how it began. And then I had a few other friends, of course, who you see in the film who have crazy houses as well.
Okay. Tell me how easy it was to make the film, to shoot the various aspects and so on.
For Super, it was very easy because as you see in the film, like we filmed at a lot of parties and things here, and Bob and I did a lot, help Boinga out with a lot of artwork and things like that. So we grabbed a bit of footage of ourselves doing that sort of thing. And
we had my drone.
that's right. I used Boinga's drone. Boinga's got a drone, and
Ah,
we used that to grab a few shots as well. So yeah, it was fairly easy because I just literally lived just down the road from Bob. So yeah, it was easy, and everyone else in the film was actually close as well. So except
okay.
for Guy.
Okay. Oh, interesting to hear that because it's such an interesting thing, the stupa, the Tibetan temple, and what it means, the significance it has to people.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, it's symbolic of going beyond the beyond to make known the unknown, going against obscuration, confusion, and delusion. It's symbolic of having the awareness of what's happening in the world, but not troubled by it too much. You're above it, sort of thing. And I've done a lot of travelling, and because when I was younger, I wanted to know why I was living in my own body, and so I was looking at all the religion and all the philosophy, and I travelled all around the place. So I travelled all around East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. I can still speak a lot of the language.
Ah,
If I said, uh, if I said kilometre guppy Nataka Harper into Queen to Melbourne, kilometre guppy Nataka Harper into Queen to Melbourne. That's how far is it from here to Melbourne in kilometres?
ah,
Guppy, how many? Nataka Harper is here, and the Quinta is going too. If I was in East Africa and I wanted to know how far it was to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, which I did, I'd say mile guppy Nataka Harper into Quinta Melimna Kilimanjaro. Melimna means a mountain or volcano. And I was there 50 years ago, and I can still remember all that.
In shorts.
And I climbed it in shorts, yeah.
yeah. Wow.
There's some beautiful photos, like you see Boinga Bob up on near Mount Everest in shorts with the Tibetan prayer flags and the in the shot. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Okay. How interesting to hear all that. That's quite a revelation. So, in terms of this 52-minute film documentary, what was the editing process to be able to put everything in that you wanted in the final version of the film?
I was really worried about that at the start, and then it edited really the way it flowed because I'd never really had a plan of like a storyline. I didn't have a storyline, so I was like, oh, how am I going to do this? And then the way it just, I don't know, it just magically flowed together. I thought the best way to start it off was with the explanation about what Boinga means, and then it all just flowed from there. It was actually quite easy. It all just fit together perfect.
Okay. And how has everyone reacted to the film Stupa?
What do you think, Bob? On the opening night was great.
Well, we were booked out, totally booked out in Warburton, and then everybody's enjoying it. A lot of people that saw it the first time, they've come back to see it again.
Yeah, they want to see it again. Yeah, because we had a premiere screening that was sold out in Warburton. It was a great community event because Warburton's gone. There's not as many entertainment places in Warburton as there once was. So it was like all the artists getting back together. It was a fantastic sort of community night. And then after that screening, the Shire wanted to show it in their cinema over the summer program. So it's had a couple of extra screenings, but that's it at the moment until after the Melbourne Doco Film Fest.
Okay, and you'll both be there at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival, I assume.
Oh, we will be, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Q&A afterwards and that. I think there's me, Bob. I think Sue Dolman from the film's going to come. Steve Curry can't make it, unfortunately, but there'll at least be two or three of us from the film.
Okay, excellent. Now let's talk about deep ecology, which is sort of an encounter situation of people talking about their lives and their situations. Tell me about how that documentary came about.
Well, again, it was quite simple. John Seed, I've known for quite a long time, and he does this workshop at Camp Eureka, which is an old communist camp nearby, near Warburton. So he was running all this workshops. So again, it was really simple for me and close by for me to go there and film with John. And again, it was sort of like, and he wanted to make this film about his legacy with deep ecology, and he really was keen to get deep ecology out into the mainstream. So it was, as you see in the film, it's quite the Truth Mandela part of the deep ecology workshop is quite intimate and moving and profound and deep and so that was an interesting, and I had to get everyone had I thought it was very brave of everybody who allowed me to film them.
Mm.
Yeah, as you know, yeah. I think it was very, very brave of them and their passion and compassion for the environment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it's quite.
It was very brave of them, and it sort of plumbs a deeper feeling about the environment, about the earth, and about life and existence. I mean, there's so much going on in the way that they describe themselves, which is quite revealing, I thought.
Yeah, totally. Like the world just seems to be getting crazier by the hour now. With everything that's going on, and it seems that natural disasters are increasing by the hour, and it's game on now. And so a lot of those people in there have a lot of grief for that and frustration, I guess, that we haven't been able to turn this ship around. It's like so. And that comes through. And during editing, and I cried a few times editing the film. It was
Ah.
just also, yeah, and especially when you add a bit of atmospheric music or something behind it and sort of thing, it moved me making it. So.
Tell me how you would describe deep ecology in terms of an audience that wants to make sense of this process.
We should have John Seed here right now. Deep ecology is it's a very philosophical film, like with Stupa. Yeah, Stupa's very philosophical. Bob's a very philosophical guy, and the same with John Seed. So it's an extremely philosophical side of looking at the environment, at our place embedded within the earth. That we're nothing special. We're not above anybody else or below anybody else. We're just an equal part of nature, playing our part in it, whatever part that is. And I'm not saying it's good or bad sort of thing. Yeah, we're doing what we're doing, and it is sad that we have this. So I've just said in previous documentaries that we have this ability in our science to see into the future and microscopes and telescopes and learn about nature and see very logically where this is going to go. Infinite growth on a finite planet is the problem no energy source can fix, and yet we can't stop ourselves from that. And so I think we discussed that in the deep ecology thing, that a lot of that can come down to, as Stephen Jenkinson we talked about, that we have this spirituality where we think it's like an infinite, limitlessness. Yeah, that there are no limits, and that comes from a lot of our magical thinking, spiritual stories, rather than the science, which shows us that there are natural limits to growth and things like that. It doesn't mean going back to living in caves or anything like that. That's not going to happen either. But yeah,
Well, I can see this deep ecology having an educational perspective for audiences that they will learn things that perhaps they were not aware of.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I have an educational distributor, Bullfrog Films, who are actually watching the screener now to see if they
Ah,
might like they get it into universities and schools and things like that. But I also think the same with Boinga's film with Stupa, that it's got a lot of educational in it, don't you think, Bob, with the philosophy
Well,
and
it's
yeah.
very spiritual. No, it points out that we're living in a planet with people. There's a whole planet full of people who genuinely do not know what they're doing here, and
Hmm.
that's very very interesting. That there's a whole planet that these bodies that we live in, we don't own the body; it's on loan from Mother Earth. And one day, Mother Earth will take the body back again.
Yep.
I go regularly into the graveyard. I love going into the cemetery and I look out at the tombstones and I think there's no doubt we're definitely on a journey now. And I think the big thing is gratitude. The fact that we're alive at all. No, the air that we breathe, it's given to us. The food that we eat, it's gratitude. And I think it's very important to have a lot of gratitude.
yeah, I think there's a big connection between the two films. They're both deeply philosophical, but in their own
Yep.
ways. Like Stoop is quite humorous and light-hearted and very sort of spiritual with that. We cover a lot of different elements of that sort of thing. And the deep ecology is much deeper and I don't want to say darker. It's not quite the right word, but it does go a bit dark. There is some dark elements to it, but
Mm.
there's also very hopeful and positive elements to it as well. It's about being real. Like I think, yeah, we try to hide or shy away from reality, and we think building lots of solar panels is going to be the solution to infinite growth on a finite planet, and it won't. Like I'm not against solar or anything. I don't think change is a conspiracy, anything like that. It's just that, as I said in documentaries before, the whole is our addiction to growth, and you can't keep doing it, and we don't know how to stop it, and no one's stopping it. We haven't begun to stop. Fossil fuels are increase every year, um, and now with AI, that's going to consume so much more energy that we use. That yeah, it's I don't know how to stop it. I don't think Jesus is coming back and there's going to be some mass awakening or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you do this, and so I guess that's the frustration that we show in the deep ecology film. Sort of thing,
Sure. No, I can see the connections between both, and your description is very good. It certainly clarifies. With the deep ecology film, how did the people who were part of that group react when they saw the final version of the film?
They haven't all seen the very final version, but I did get their permission. I showed them their parts in it and got their okay before I put it out there because it is so intimate. And so none of them have actually seen the whole complete final version. Oh, John Seed has, sorry, he's seen the private
Ah,
screening, yeah. But a few of them will be there at the screening in Melbourne. So I look
okay.
forward to yeah. I think they'll be happy with the way they knew what they were putting themselves in for in the way, but it's a beautiful film. I think it's a very timely film. It's been said by a few people.
Yes. Well, both films certainly have strong aspects to them, which I think will appeal to audiences. And at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival, you should get pretty good reactions, I would say, to both films when it screens in July. So great to hear all that. All right, look, well done on those two films, both you, Bob and Peter. Are you both involved or working on other films at the moment?
Bob's about to get an interview again.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've got an interview next week with That's Life magazine,
Ah,
and I recently had a big interview with the Channel 7 television,
ah,
and that was it had my birthday, my 85th birthday on it.
oh,
But can you send Peter a copy of the?
yeah, it's on YouTube actually.
It's
It's Channel 7, Boinga Bob, or something like that.
Yeah,
But it's on YouTube.
yeah, it's quite a big interview. There's a lot of philosophy in it.
okay,
Yeah, and my next film, I'm not sure. I have a lot of different ideas, but nothing has really stood out to me
Yeah.
to what to do next. Yeah.
Do
okay.
you Do you live locally, Peter?
In Melbourne, yes.
Oh, you should come and visit one day.
Yeah, come up to work.
Come up to visit. I'd like to meet you. No, you should do.
Yeah.
I'll
Boinga
see.
loves visiting.
That would be nice. I'll see what I can do. It's hard for me to get away because I have so many commitments in Melbourne. But okay, we'll see.
That's what I'm coming to war with you. It'll blow your mind. I promise you.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm making a great big pyramid at the moment, a big giant pyramid.
Ah,
Mm.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Egypt, I knew the guardians to the Great Pyramid.
uh-huh.
Samir Zayed Zawabi, Hag Abdullah Razim, Mandura, Chokre Mohammed, and Hassan, and they all worked at the pyramids. And I used to go every night and climb the pyramids.
Oh,
And one night I was underneath the Mycerinus pyramid. There's Cheops, Chephron, and Mycerinus. And one night I was under the Mycerinus. I used to go there and meditate. And I hear, it was a big mosquito under the pyramid. You could hardly expect to meet a copper snake, but I didn't expect to hear it at the pyramid because it's pretty dry down there.
how interesting. Wow.
Yeah. And I had all sorts of things that happened to me personally. Like I'm up on top of the pyramid, a cube of red energy arrived up, floating in space, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know whether to jump with joy or be afraid. And it started to vibrate. And it went down parallel to one side of the pyramid and across the desert over towards Saqqara. And I climbed the following night, and this thing came back again, but it went up over the pyramid.
Ah,
Of red energy, and with my little blue torch shining amongst the rocks on the pyramid, there were little red cubes of energy, and but I saw them, but other people don't see it though.
uh-huh.
But I see things here as well that other people don't see.
Yes. Okay. Again, very interesting to hear all that. It's yeah, terrific stuff. All right, we might conclude it there. We've been speaking to Peter and Bob about Stupa and Deep Ecology, both documentary screening as part of the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival in July. And it's been a pleasure talking to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've enjoyed talking to you, Peter.
Boinga.
And you come and visit one day. And
I'll
Boinga.
I'll see. Thank you for the invitation.
Boinga means to go beyond the beyond and make known the unknown.
Fair
make
enough.
Possible to go
Yes.
against obscuration, confusion, and delusion. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Peter.
Say,
Yeah, bye.
Great advice. I'll see how I go. Thank you so much, both of you. All the best. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.